Hello, hello, hola, buenos dias. No, maybe it's buenos dias where you are here in Mexico City. It is somewhere between buenas tardes and buenas noches. But wherever you are, hello. Thank you for joining me here, whether you're here live or you are watching from the future. It is Tuesday. Typically, I go live at 7 p.m. Tuesday. And you might be saying, but girl, I'm on the East Coast, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast and it's not 7 p.m. Um, you're right. I am tardy today, but that has a lot to do with today is the day the cleaner came. And she comes on Tuesdays, and I try not to be here and get in her way, but that then throws everything off because, what is time? So, either way, I am here and I am glad that you are here. Hello to everybody in the chat joining me live. I appreciate y'all. So let's get down to it. If you were here last week or by chance you watched last week's conversation on the replay, we talked about, what could you do? I gave examples if it were me personally. What could you do if your funds were a little low, but you were trying to move abroad? And that got me to thinking that there are some money moves, some habits, some beliefs that people have around money that are holding them back. Whether you're trying to get up out of the United States, or you're just trying to build some financial security for you, for yours. There are some things that a lot of people are doing that's really working against them. And so I thought we'd talk about that today because you know what they always say, when you know better, you do better. And I want you to do better with your money. Before we jump into that, if by chance you are new to the channel, I want to say welcome. We are glad you are here. My name is Adelia Aborishade. Although most people know me as Picky Girl Travels the World. Um, This is my channel. I am a financial educator and coach who is a world traveler and also who has been living abroad for the last 9 years. Those are all things that we discuss here on this channel. So if those are topics that are of interest to you, you found your people. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, all of that good stuff. I am looking for a setting. Every time I come into StreamYard, which is what I'm using to live stream this, everything is in a different place. And so now I don't know where to find the thing that I was trying to find. Okay, there we are. All right, so glad you're here. Let us get started. One of the things that kind of was a big aha moment for me that I think a lot of people still have not figured out yet is there is a difference between being able to pay for something versus being able to actually afford it. And I know for some of y'all, those sound like the exact same thing. They are not. There is a difference. Um, it's kind of that same thinking of, well, I want to buy these new shoes, I want to book this trip. Those diamond earrings look really good, I should have them. And often people will say, well, I've got that amount of money in my account, I can afford it. Maybe, maybe not. Or people are looking at, well, what are the monthly payments? I have enough money. I can make those monthly payments. Okay. But there is a difference between I can pay for this and I can actually afford it. And I have a really good example of this from my own life. Um, as many of you know, I have 2, 3 kids that I raised. And I was the primary parent. So that meant if you have volleyball practice, softball practice, you had choir, you had before school, you had after school, I was the parent who was doing the picking up. And those of you who have children or who have had to transport children know that putting a car seat in the back of a two-door car is a pain in the ass, right? There's a reason why so many moms have minivans because it just makes carting around multiple children, getting them in and out of the car so much easier. When my kids finally got to an age where we were not, nobody was in a car seat, everybody was was large enough that they could maneuver themselves in and out of the car. I wanted I wanted a two-door car. I wanted something sporty. I had driven I used to have a Mazda MPV. It was supposed to not be a minivan, but it really was one. It was kinda like sporty. Regardless, it was a mom car. And so I wanted like a two-door car. I wanted something sporty, and I had my heart set on a Nissan 350, 380, 370. I think it was a 370. I had my heart set on it because I was like, "Yep, that's the look, that's the vibe that I am going for." And for the kind of cars I had driven up until that point, it was a little bit more expensive, but I was like, I can afford this. I can buy this. Let me correct myself. And then as I started to do my research, I started to dig in and find out, oh, it took premium gas. It needed these special kind of tires. Because it was considered a sports car, it was going to need more expensive insurance. It's all of these little things. And I started to realize that, yes, I could buy that car, but I could not really afford it I couldn't afford owning it. And so there is a difference between the ability to buy something and the ability to afford it. Even if you've got the cash in your account, if you don't examine, what are my expenses? How is this purchase going to impact those expenses, my saving and investing goals? You are not really looking at the whole picture, and therefore you probably really can't. You're right, Valerina. It all adds up when you sit down and you put the extra costs. And so that's what I want to challenge you to do, is that when you are debating a purchase, when you are considering a purchase, don't just look at the price on the ticket, the price on the sticker. Really examine how it fits into your life as a whole. And what are the other costs associated that you may not be paying at the point of purchase that may figure in a little later on? Okay. So, yes, there is a difference between I can pay for this and I can afford it. Particularly when we're talking about making payments, and this kind of goes into my next thing, a lot of folks think about, oh, well, I will put that on my credit card and I can make those payments. Um, but they never pay off the card. And so I didn't really understand that there were people who thought this way because I was brought up, or the person who taught me about credit cards made it very clear that my goal was to not carry a balance. But as I have worked with clients over the last 5 years, I and my own adult child, I realize everybody is not getting that message. And so a lot of folks think it is normal to keep a balance on a credit card. Like that's just a thing you have. You always have a credit card bill. Nobody ever like fully pays off their credit card. I remember one of the few times my oldest daughter asked me to help her organize her finances. And I started asking questions like, okay, do you have any credit card debt? How much? What's your interest rate? Blah, blah, blah. When are you going to pay it off? And she was like, what do you mean pay it off? Like, you just pay the amount they're asking for. Like, you just have a credit card bill. And I was like, no, baby girl, that's not how that works. I'm not sure where she got that idea from, but she's not alone. Um, on Our Black Utopia, Rick and Halisi talk about that they, as grown people, like in their 50s and 60s, just took for granted that you would have a balance on your credit card and you pay the minimum. Maybe there was some months you paid a little bit more, but the goal was never to like pay it off and not have a balance. Um, and these are, educated, I would expect, somewhat financially sophisticated people, but they talk about that was a belief that they held as well. So if you couple that with the first thing we were talking about, and people thinking more, oh, I just realized I don't have my charger. People thinking more about, like, oh, I can afford the payment, and never really thinking about, when will I pay this off completely? It's just more they're focused on the dollar amount per month and not the total cost. That has big potential for holding you back financially. I'm gonna have to put y'all on hold and go grab my charger. Be right back. Uh, Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I meant to do that before I actually pressed the go live button, but I forgot all about it. That is one of the joys of perimenopause. You can't ever remember anything. So we are back in business. This is what I had never I'd never owned a car that I financed until I forget how long it was. So I got my first brand new car, which turned out to be a piece of crap. I I'm trying to think. I must have financed that car. I think I paid it off early. And then my next brand new car, my sporty car that only had two doors, I was prepared to pay cash, but Honda was running a deal with 0% interest. I know that's probably unheard of now, a car with 0% APR. And so I was like, if y'all don't want to charge me interest, I will just pay you monthly payments and I could feed more money to my retirement, to my savings goals, that sort of thing. But yeah, um, I if I were ever to drive again, which I don't see happening, I'd absolutely be trying to pay cash for it. There are also some folks out there who think that it's actually a good strategy to not pay off a credit card because their thinking is, as I keep a balance on my card and I'm making my monthly payments, and that will raise my credit score. And I think those people kind of got their wires crossed a little bit because when you are trying to improve your credit score, one of the things people tell you is like, well, make on time payments. And so, yes, making payments, making them on time is good for your credit score. But what I think those people are missing is how much of your credit you are utilizing. Like if you are utilizing more than 30% of the credit that is available to you, that's actually a ding on your credit score. So the idea that keeping a balance so that I can pay every month is doing good for my credit, no, it's not. Also, I would argue that being obsessed with your credit score is gonna hold you back. One, I think a lot of people devote far too much energy to what their credit score is. Did it go up 5 points today? Did it go down 3 points yesterday? Unless you are actively trying to secure a loan, like you are in the process of buying a house, getting ready to finance a car. Unless it is a situation like that, or I'm trying to think of what else you might be taking out a loan for, maybe some home improvements, things like that. I think you need to chill out and stop stressing about your credit score because your credit score is only it's only good in those moments, like when you are actively trying to secure financing and you want to appear as good of a credit risk as possible so that you get better terms. But like the I've got an app on my phone and I get notified when there is any change in my credit score, you're doing too much. You worry that energy could be used elsewhere. Um, April, you are correct. Certain kinds of jobs, like I used to work at a bank and they did a credit check on us before they would hire us because if somebody is in debt up to their eyeballs, you probably don't want them handling tens of thousands of dollars on a daily basis. Um, there are some jobs, not all, but the job wants to see that you don't have a ton of debt and that your score isn't like 300. But being worried about 10 points, 20 points, 30 points, that's that's energy being wasted on something that is not that important, particularly for my folks here that are considering a move abroad. Your US credit score, I can only think of one exception, and that I have been told by somebody who applied for residency in South Africa. But it may have been the kind of visa that they applied for that they needed to provide their US credit score. Nowhere else in the world have I ever heard of anybody caring about what it was. So, yeah, I think a lot of us spend too much energy there instead of focusing it in a place where it would benefit us more as far as our financial security is concerned. Okay. So, we've talked about there is a difference between being able to pay for something, like I got room on the credit card versus I can afford it. Um, Keeping a credit card balance is not the move. So, if you are trying to improve your financial situation, you want to have some financial security for you, for the generations after you, keeping credit card balances, in addition to like it's not really benefiting you. But then there's also the issue of how much it is costing you in interest. We've talked in the last few weeks about how the days of like 4 and 5%, 7% credit card interest is long gone. Uh, Basically, now you've got it's all double digit variable. Um, yeah. So there's the issue of it's costing you so much in interest. So you're not really whatever you're doing with the money that you're not paying the credit card with, it's got to be making you more money than the what you're losing in interest. And the vast majority of us, that's not the case. All right. We also talked about don't fixate on your credit score unless you are in the middle of applying for a loan. Outside of that, let the credit score do its thing, but don't stress out. Don't expend a lot of energy there. Um, another thing, the next one on my list is keeping expensive habits because of convenience, or expensive habits that you don't really think about the cost because it's like, oh, that's super convenient. Ordering Uber Eats, DoorDash, um, those kinds of things. Um, Super convenient, but I every time I don't really use delivery apps because fundamentally they're not sound, uh, because there is no way for the company that runs the app to profit, the restaurant on the app to profit, and the person delivering the thing to profit. Like, if we don't tip delivery people, generally they don't make money. And to me, that structure, that system, I don't want to support something like that. But, I am human. And there are times when I believe that I cannot bring myself to get up and go and get the thing I want. And so I will open the app and I will get ready to order the food. And then I'm noticing, oh, this price is 15%, 20% more than it was in person at the restaurant. And then there is the service charge, there is the delivery fee, all of that. And you look up and what should have been something that cost $20 now costs 40, you know? Um, those kinds of things. I know it is easy to be like, hey, I'm busy, I'm working, I order DoorDash, and not realize, particularly if, it's just going to your credit card. And then if you're just paying the minimum on the credit card, you're not really seeing that, oh, in this last month, I spent $500 on DoorDash. Yes, it's super convenient, but there's probably a way you can feed yourself that doesn't cost you that much. Now, if you're in a position where spending all of that money to have it delivered to your house to take care of that convenience, it ain't gonna break you. I'm not talking to you. Because if you're in that position, you're probably not worried about your financial security. But those kinds of services, while super, super convenient, can are really, really expensive and can easily derail what financial goals you may have. Um, the next one on my list is don't forget about future you. It is very easy to spend money and only focus on the here and now. We've all heard the statistic about how many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And it doesn't really matter how much you earn. There are people who earn uh, six figures who are still living paycheck to paycheck. That if the paycheck didn't come on the 1st or the 15th, there would be big questions about how they were going to feed themselves, house themselves, that sort of thing. And if this is not to minimize folks who are busting their ass and working multiple jobs, because the cost of living in the United States is beyond ridiculous. It is so high and wages have been stagnant for so long. It is really hard to make ends meet, let alone not live paycheck to paycheck. But if you there are people, and I've had these folks as clients who are in a situation where they are living paycheck to paycheck, but they don't have to be. And it's not until we go in and we break down and we look at how are they spending their money? And we discover like, "Oh, did you realize you spent $500 on DoorDash?" Or whatever the thing is, that they realize like, because I did this I did this when I was helping my daughter. I took what all the bills were that she told me she had, and I took what she had coming in, and I was like, "According to this, you should have this amount extra per month." And she looked at me dead in my face and was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "So where is the money going?" And she couldn't tell me. Um, so a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck, but we all should not be. And so that's my other challenge to you, is to really look at where is the money going? Because if you continue to live that way, where there is never any space or any time to put any money aside for future you is going to be here eventually. And she might not want to work until she is 75. But because, you didn't really, it was like, the money comes, I pay the bills, whatevs. And you didn't make future you a priority. When she shows up, there is no money for her to relax and to take it easy. And she has to work. So let's not forget future you. Um, because you one thing we've learned, I think, over the last 5 years is nobody's going to take care of us, except our community. So we've got to start thinking about that future version of ourselves. That means not doing something as far as saving, as far as investing for that future version of us. And notice I broke saving, investing apart, because remember that saving is for short term needs, wants, goals. Investing, that's for future you. That's so you can eventually stop working, so you can eventually buy the house, buy the property, buy the boat, the race car, whatever it is that you're into. Um, it is very easy to tell ourselves, I can't do that right now. Um, I'm barely making it. I only have $20 extra at the end of the month. $20 every month for 5 years, for 10 years, that turns into something. It is better than, "Oh, I didn't put anything aside." So I want us to get out of that, "Oh, well, that's something I will do later." No, do it now, even if it is just $5 every time you get paid. Um, I know it is really easy to hear me say that and think, "Girl, that $5 ain't gonna do nothing." But I am here. I am living proof that yes, it will. Y'all, I have shared this on this channel. I have shared this uh with CNBC. They put all my all my financial business out there. I did not make a lot of money when I was a school teacher. I don't make a lot of money now. However, you don't have to have a lot of money. But if you just put aside a little and you put it in a place where it can grow, you get somebody like me who basically retires from work at 45. So the idea that I can't do it now, I will do it later, we gonna forget. I forget who I am sometimes. um, I want to encourage everybody to look for where is there some money, a little something. I'm so Jess, so last year I found a extra $125 a month in waste from subscriptions. That's just it. I because I see it kind of all connected. Like when you are not paying attention to where the money is going. And notice, I have never said in our conversation tonight, don't spend less money. I've never said that. But I think it is important to know where is the money going. It's very easy, particularly in the world that we live in now, to just charge everything. It's all on one credit card. I'm getting these miles. You pay the bill, and you've not really paid attention to where is the money going? And is that where I want it to be going? Is that where I need it to be going? I've said that these are the things I want for myself and I want for my future, but am I spending my money? Am I putting my money in places that align with that? Well, if you're never looking at your spending and examining it, there's no way to know that. So, um, and then it's very easy to not see, oh, here's something I don't want to be spending money on anymore. Or I could move that over here and do this thing or this other thing. And so believing like there is no space, there isn't any money, or that I need a lot of money to save, I need a lot of money to invest. We got to let that go. That kind of thinking is what is holding us back. Um, I'm going to do a separate video on uh, oh shit funds. But one of the things I've had to explain to multiple clients is the idea, because it often feels like if I can't do it big, I shouldn't do it at all. If I don't have hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars to put aside, it's not worth doing. But even if over a year, all you can put aside is $500 in your oh shit fund, and then the radiator goes out in your car or the AC unit goes out at your house, you've got $500 cash that you wouldn't have had the other any other way, that you would have either had to scramble to find or you'd have to finance in some way, either by putting it on a credit card or by having to take out a loan. Now, yes, transmissions and air conditioners cost more than $500, but that's at least $500 that you do not have to finance at 27% interest or whatever. So we've got to shift some mindset and shift a little thinking there. Okay. Um, so yeah, uh, staying in paycheck to paycheck mode without ever evaluating, is this really how I have to live? Putting off saving, putting off investing. Um, and this is another way that folks disrespect their future selves using stuff like Klarna. I can't remember the other names of them, but the buy now, pay later things. Um, just because they offer it doesn't mean you should take advantage of it. I think that that's kind of like one of the worst financial services to come about in the last few years. Affirm, that's another one. Um, because not that I think, oh, if people don't have the money right now, they shouldn't be able to buy the thing. That's not what I'm saying. But it is the way we are kind of like all willy-nilly. We out here financing burritos. Like nobody's questioning that I can go to Chipotle, I can order Chipotle and I can do Klarna and I could break my burrito into 4 different payments over 4 months. Like, that's wild and not in a good way. That is no, because again, goes back to the first thing we talked about, being able to pay for something versus being able to afford it. The idea of like, oh, I've got the money for those payments in my account, because you're doing a lot of this mentally. And if you've got 10 different buy now, pay laters through Affirm, through Klarna, whomever, it's very easy to lose track of those, to forget how much you owe. And as you're supposed to be keeping a tally of, well, this is what I can afford to spend, it's very easy to lose track of that, to lose sight of that. Then you get into the fees associated with it. Um, I don't really, not a fan at all. So doing that is not helping future you. Um, and the last one that I have on my list, if you want to do better when it comes to your financial security and your financial stability, um, we are going to talk a little bit about spending. And again, I'm not here to tell you don't spend your money. I'm the little birdie on your shoulder, encouraging you, challenging you, reminding you to interrogate, how are you spending your money? Is it in alignment with the things that you say you want out of life? One of the things folks can get caught up in is trying to stay on top of every trend, or staying projecting this image of success. And for us in the United States, being successful means driving a certain kind of car, wearing certain brand name clothes, carrying certain bags. It might be being seen at certain restaurants and certain events. And I'm not saying that any of those things are bad. What I am saying is, does spending your money in that way and moving through life that way, does that support the goals that you say you have, the things that you say you want to do? Um, you know, Trying to stay on top of every trend and maintain a certain look or aesthetic. Um, it's very easy to do that with fast fashion, because between Shein, Temu, H&M, Zara, all of those companies, they are bombarding us with their products. But, fashion can be an investment. None of those are. What the products are made out of, the quality at which they're made, um, and the constant cycle of spending money because I gotta have the new thing, I gotta have the new thing, um, that's not good, and that also contributes to screwing over future you. Um, it's not a good investment, it's not a good use of your money. Um, and I would also ask us to kind of consider the things that we feel that we must own. Do we need to own all of the things? Do we need to own all of the right things? Who's saying, like, where are you getting this idea of, like, if I want people to take me seriously, this is how I have to dress, this is where I have to live, this is the car I have to drive. Where is that coming from? Does that really fit the way you want to live? I am not telling anybody, don't buy designer. Don't buy, now, I am telling you, don't buy fast fashion. One, the clothes are shitty. That's one. Two, is bad for the environment. And three, is bad for the women who work in those factories and are paid slave wages. So yes, I am telling you, not don't buy those things. Am I telling you not to shop? No, I am not, because everybody knows my weakness is not finished clothing, but it is fabric, and I will spend if it is quality, if there is a story behind it, like, that is important to me in the way that I live life, that I spent a ridiculous amount of money on hand-painted batik from Indonesia that I watched them paint. Yeah, like, but that aligns with the life I have said that I wanna live. So, again, I don't want anybody to get confused on what I'm saying. Alright. So, um, did I miss anything? Are there some things that y'all can think of or that are on your mind that you're like, "This is something either you personally did that was holding you back financially, or you've seen people in your life do?" Drop those in the chat. Excuse me. Um, I will say that if you are feeling like I've been neglecting my finances, I need to, I need some help getting on track, figuring out some things. Um, you know, I need some help walking me through that. I do offer one-on-one sessions, and I'm trying to see if there's a link. I know there's a link in the description, but uh, if you go there should be multiple ways you can end up here, but if you need some help and you're like, "Girl, I would like you to help me," reach out, schedule, a one-on-one with me. You can do that at bit.ly/askadelia, all lower caps. Um, and I saw somebody talking about they were doing a low spend month. Where do I go back to the comments? Ah, Catrice, I'm doing a low spend for the next 2 months. One of the things which is why I'll either do a no spend or a low spend, is because it forces me to pay attention to, is the money going in the places that I want it to go? Somebody else was talking about, oh, I think it was Jess saying, she found that $125 on subscriptions and started investing it. Um, if you are like, I should be investing and I'm not, or I have some investments, but I don't know what the hell's going on with them. I will be hosting it. Registration is not open now. I will let y'all know when it is open, but I am hosting um a live in not in person because it's it's online, but a live version of the Get Started Investing Challenge beginning of November. So, if that is something that you need help with, this may be a good option for you. What I see are people who are frugal, yet their partner and their children are not. That's a problem. Yeah, because that used to be me. I I'm a little less frugal now than I used to be, but I am frugal by nature, and I was married to someone who was the opposite of that. And it did not make for an easy time, that's for sure. That's for sure. Oh. Flutter by PNW one-on-one session was well worth the investment, needed the guidance when I decided to pivot from Portugal to Mexico. Okay. Well, thank you. My Ask Adelia sessions, the one-on-one sessions, um, we can talk about, you know, examining your finances, figuring out what's the appropriate move for you. Sometimes it's just about having somebody, having another set of eyes look at this is what I'm planning to do, I think I should do. Does this make sense? But I also do one-on-one sessions for those who are trying to kind of coordinate the financial piece and that move abroad piece. So, if that is something of interest to you, there is a link in the description. There is also a link in the description of this video for the mailing list. When registration opens for the Investing Challenge, it will go out to the folks on the mailing list first. So, if you are not on my mailing list, go ahead and sign up there. No, that URL is not good anymore. Okay. So, that's all I got for y'all this Tuesday. I am very much in, I don't know if when I got up, y'all saw that pile of stuff back there. Those are 2 sewing projects that have to be finished before I get on a flight next week. So, it is travel prep mode around here, which can be a little crazy. But I will be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern because the cleaner does not come then. And I have a flight Tuesday night. So I'm going to come hang out with y'all and talk. And then I'm going to head to the airport. Um, all right. I will talk to y'all then.